Yo, yo, yo.
What up? What
What
up,
up, my
Rainbow?
dude?
How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Pretty good, man. Just chilling.
Another fucking wonderful fucking day, right?
Oh yeah, dude. Definitely, definitely. What's up, people?
We're here. We're gonna talk about some jammies.
Some more jammies. Episode 2.
Yeah, episode 2. We're here,
We're doing things. We're trying to do things.
attempting to.
Yeah. So today we are covering. First off, it's going to be Crimson Armada's album, "The Guardian" or "Guardians," not "The Guardians," and then it's either Equipoise or Equipoise. I'm kind
I
of
think it's
confused on it.
Equipoise.
Yeah.
That's the way I've always said it, and that's the way I've always heard it said was Equipoise.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
Yeah.
so I don't know if that's the proper enunciation, but somebody might fucking tell us later and be like, "Oh, you guys are stupid."
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
I mean, I won't take any answers unless it's from the band themselves.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, we're doing Equipoise, Demiurgus.
Yeah, that's a good album. I really
Yeah.
like it.
Uh, like I mentioned to you previously, and we'll get into it more. First listen was kind of.
Yeah, you said it was rough.
It wasn't like hard, but like
it wasn't
it
what
grew
you
on me.
It wasn't what you wanted at first.
No, it grew on me. It totally grew on me.
And you know what? I had the exact same reaction. I listened to like a couple of songs my buddy showed me, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is cool. And then I tried to listen to the album, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
And then I decided, especially after I started getting really into Inferi,
Yeah.
I went ahead and I went back, and I was like, okay, this is sick. And then
Yeah.
and then I went back again. I'm like, okay, this is really fucking sick. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Why did I not like this?
No, you gotta give it its due diligence. And like I said, we'll get into that a little bit more later. I don't want to spoil too much of what I got notes for that, but I say pretty much just let's
let's fucking dive on in. So we're gonna open up Crimson Armada. What do you got for me, bud?
Alrighty, so Crimson Armada, I found them on YouTube way back in the day, just doing fucking.
I remember those days going back on YouTube, and you're just like, oh yeah, who's got some new music videos out, and getting the recommended and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The recommended, something comes up, and it's like, oh, okay, let's see this.
Yeah.
So that's how I found them. That was probably like 2010. So it's been a minute since they've kind of popped in and out of my my library, so to speak. But all right, let's. Starting with the lineup, we have Saoud Ahmed doing vocals and the keyboard work.
Okay.
We have Josh Jardim, hopefully I'm saying that right, on guitar. Dan Hatfield on the other guitar. Chris Yates does bass, and I don't know if you hear any of his backup vocals on the record, but it looks like he maybe did some live support.
Mm-hmm.
And then David Puckett did the drums.
Okay. Are they in anything notable that we may know of?
I don't think so. I think this, and
they kind of one-offed on it, and
yeah,
they maybe like stayed low on some other stuff. Because I know that at the same time that they put out 2 more albums after this.
They only did the 2.
So they only did 2 albums.
Yeah, they did. They did Guardians, and then Conviction. Conviction was their second album.
Okay.
And it was a pretty different album. There was like partycore songs on it, so it was interesting. There's still some good songs on there, in my opinion, but that's not what I'm covering today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're formed in Westerville, Ohio, in 2007. So it took them, about 2 years to get this album out, but that doesn't. I don't know. They guarantee they had EPs out and stuff like that, but I couldn't really find any.
Oh yeah, I mean, most bands, they either have an EP or they have some sort of underground demo somewhere, or even a split.
Yeah. This album was released on July 7th of 2009, and I kind of find it funny that it's 7/7 because these guys are Christian influenced,
yep.
And sometimes that's kind of an ick zone for people. But I like to be kind of open with what I listen
Yeah.
to, and I enjoy the musicality of it.
I mean, there's a few bands that were still super sick while
Oh
being
yeah,
super Christian. I mean, I know we've talked about Impending Doom. They're fucking
yeah,
sick.
yeah. Impending Doom does great stuff, dude.
I remember there's one music video that Impending Doom has, and fucking I can't remember what their vocalist name is right now, right off the top of my head. But he's wearing this fucking shirt, and you see it, and it's in the Slayer font. It just says Jesus right across it. It
Hell
goes
yeah,
so
dude.
hard.
That's awesome.
And then one of the other ones that I always liked was In the Midst of Lions.
Yep, yep. I
Their
remember you
first
mentioning them.
their first
Those.
album was cool, but I really enjoyed their second album.
I'm gonna have to give that a full go through listen because I've only heard bits and
Oh
pieces. You
yeah,
know,
dude.
fucking
Yeah, as I said, the first album is pretty good. It's kind of your cookie cutter deathcore kind of sound, but then like they stepped it up for that second album, and I can't remember what it was called.
nice. Yeah, no,
I'll find it and I'll let you know.
sounds good, buddy. I appreciate that. So little information. Well, more information. That's what we're doing here. It was recorded at the Foundation in Connorsville, Indiana, which I think is kind of funny. They're from Westerville and they went to another Ville. Um,
Ville on Ville
yeah,
action, dude.
Ville on Ville action. Around November of 2008. So it looks like it took a little over half a year to get everything dialed in.
Mm.
Mixed, mastered, recorded, all that stuff.
Especially like when you start comparing it to like what we were talking about the last time, where it was like they knocked it out in like 2 months, 3 months.
Right, yeah.
So these guys actually took their time and tried to really grind it out.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that maybe they had like some shows in between, or maybe they had to go
do
back home,
or they had to do writing in the studio. I've seen that a lot of times.
True. That's true. But here's a pretty big name. What I found is that Joey Sturgis produced it, and he's done so many like metalcore bands.
Oh
and,
yeah,
like,
metalcore bands, and now he
everywhere.
has all of his plugins and stuff that he does. If anybody that's kind of a recording engineer in the metal space, they know the name Joey Sturgis because of all the Homeforge stuff and everything that he's producing for the audio engineer side of things, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, he's got a repertoire, like just a huge career. He's done a lot for the metal and the subgenres and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But a couple other names that he's done albums for is Devil Wears Prada, which I know you're not big on that.
I'm not a fan, but I know plenty of people that are.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that he's done 90%, if not all, of Devil Wears Prada stuff, dude.
And I think he does. I think he's the one that heads the whole. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but the whole Nail the Mix project.
I think so. Yeah.
I think he heads that. I don't quote me on that, but I think he heads that one.
Yeah. No.
Which I wouldn't doubt.
Yeah. No, it sounds like it's right. But he's also done Oshino, We Came as Romans, Miss May I, a lot of like. I mean, Oshino's not really like a Warped Tour band, that's kind of like metalcore, and then they throw some deathcore and some like random shit in there. But I'm sure if you went to Warped Tour, you listened to a band that worked with Joey Sturgis.
Oh yeah,
easy. So track list. There's 10 tracks on this album. Well, 9 real songs, and there's an outro.
I was gonna say that outro is like a little 30-second outro thing.
Yeah. But it goes Guardians, Filthy Addiction, The Sound that Flood the Hour, In the Eyes of God, The Serpent's Tongue, Revelations, and Revelations features Maddie Montgomery, which is from another Christian-influenced metal band, For Today, which I think their first album was really sick. They kind of went more mainstream on their later albums, but their first album is fucking super sick.
That's a band that I've never actually listened to.
You might like their first album stuff. It's like I wouldn't really call it techie, but there's some riffs in there that's like, okay, that's sick. Continues with Desecrated, The Final Words, and what I found on like 3 different sources is that Joey Sturgis actually did supporting vocals on that track, which is
that's interesting.
Sick. Yeah, that's pretty sick. I hope that's accurate because I found it a couple places. I don't know if it's just, one of those things where it was like user submitted and, it just kind of took off and became its own beast. But, if that is true, that is pretty cool to think about. And then it wraps up with the Architect and the outro, which, you know, the Architect kind of bleeds into the outro and it kind of wraps it up.
Yeah, it kind of just ties it all together.
Yeah, the total runtime is 41 minutes, 36 seconds. So it's not a long album. It's not super long, but you know, there's plenty there. Plenty there.
There's a good amount of content on it.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, they did do a second album, Conviction, and after that, I'm not aware if they like maybe released another single, like if they're working or anything like that. But everything that I've read said that there were lineup changes and internal strife. You know, it's kind of the same thing. Like I kind of go back to Under Oath, where they, you know, because they're kind of like I hate using the word, but they're kind of like a screamo, like alternative metal kind of band, and they were Christian.
They're another metalcore band.
Yeah, they were Christian aligning for a long time, and they kind of collectively were like, you know, that's just not our path anymore. So I'm wondering if that's what kind of happened with the Crimson Armada.
Had a weird fallout internally.
Yeah. So I'm not too sure what exactly happened, but yeah, it sounds like maybe, you know, lives were changing and they were just like, you know, this isn't our path anymore. But they had a relatively short-lived career. They, like I said, they put out Guardians in 2009, and then Conviction came out in 2011.
So a couple of years in between.
Yeah, and they had 2 EPs. I couldn't find the date for Behold the Architect, which is one of their EPs, but I would kind of think that maybe it was before Guardians, because there is the Architect on this particular album. So I'm wondering if maybe they like took some of those ideas and then made it into the Architect for Guardians, and then they did,
that would make sense.
Kind of like a throwback, like, okay, here's our roots. We're gonna pay a little homage to it,
keep to them a little bit, but we're still gonna do our own thing.
And then they had a demo in 2010. So in between that 2 years of 2009 for Guardians and 2011 for Conviction, they did have some more ideas written around. So like I said, it's kind of short-lived career, but they were putting out music pretty good for the time that they were doing stuff together.
Okay.
They only released 2 music videos, which are both on YouTube. The Serpent's Tongue, which is probably one of my favorite songs off of this album. And then Forgive Me on their album Conviction. So it seems like whenever they did an album release, they
popped a video with it and said, okay, here you go.
Exactly. So, you know, good classic, you know, I don't want to call it advertising, promotion. That's the word I was looking for. Good promotion.
Pretty standard, especially for the time when, you know, not a lot of these bands had a lot of budget for music videos or anything.
Right.
And, you know, you kind of are, I don't want to say you're piggybacking off your label to do it, but sometimes that's what you got to do.
Well, I mean, and that's not to say that, you know, that the record deal with the company was like, okay, we're gonna pay to produce this album. This is how many tracks we want, and when you get it done, we will pay for a music video to promote it.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah,
unless you're inside on those deals.
Yeah. As I mentioned before, I found them on YouTube just randomly, and it was The Serpent's Tongue was the first song that I ever listened to by them. I didn't really get into Conviction until I was just locked on this album for them. I'm like, okay, this is a good album, and you know, other songs from Conviction would show up and stuff like that. But when I listened to the Crimson Armada, this is the album I put on. Not to say that Conviction isn't good, but like I said, there was kind of a deviation from this sound, and this album is what this is what I think Crimson Armada is. It's kind of like when we were talking about All That Remains, and you popped on that album from 2008 yesterday.
Yeah, we listened to the new All That Remains song yesterday. that just got put out just a couple days ago. And
pretty good.
Yeah, it was fucking sweet. I was stoked on it. It was such a good callback to like the Fall of Ideals, and
yeah,
it was just fuck yeah. And Jason Richardson did such a good job without having to go like overboard.
Yeah, no, he's
like a great guitarist, but goddamn, does he know how to go overboard? But he knows when to do it.
Yeah, exactly. But he stayed right in the pocket, and that doesn't mean that when they release the album that this song's going to be on, that he doesn't get his moment to shine, because I'm sure that he's going to want. That
he did. He did he had a solo in that song.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm just so used to his like over the top shreddy stuff because of his solo stuff, and then
his solo stuff, the stuff that he did with Born of Osiris on the Discovery.
Yeah. It wasn't like a too far cry from what he normally does, but it's interesting to see him going from like technical death metal to All That Remains, but like he fits really well.
I feel like he still did a pretty, like, for the riffing for All That Remains, that they did a pretty technical job.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I'm not downplaying his ability or his playing whatsoever. But he fits so well.
Oh yeah, he's a great
pocket.
fit.
Yeah, it's super good. But yeah, as I was saying, the Serpent's Tongue. Listen to it. When I discovered it, I mean, I was young, so I would hyperfixate on songs.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like
I know that. I
still do that. Yeah, right. I think I listened to that song probably a dozen times the first week I found it, and I was just hooked. I would say these guys are kind of in the metalcore vein, but they got riffs. They got riffs.
I was gonna say that was one thing that was surprising for me, is like listening to some of the stuff, and it was like, okay, we got some banging little riffs coming out.
Yeah, no, the guitarists did some great work on this album. And everything fits so well. The drums aren't overpowerful. They're fitting. It's not, I wouldn't say it's as good as like what we mentioned on the last episode with All Shall Perish, where the drummer does these like little bits that are just like, fuck, God, dude, that works so well.
So standout. That was the standout of that album, in my opinion. Aside from, some of the super techie riffs and stuff, that the drum work was fucking superb.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I would say he kind of sits more in like, you listen to a metalcore band from like 2007 to 2011, you kind of know what to expect, but he's not boring on the drums.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of where, sometimes I'll listen to music from then, and I'm just like, it's kind of bland for me.
And I mean, yeah, it's the same thing, like, because like I know I've talked to you, I grew up, and growing up I was super elitist, I was anti-core, all this, and so many just plain death metal songs where it's just death metal and black metal, especially, where it's just blast beats.
Yeah.
Blast beats. How many blast beats can we do?
How many? Yeah.
How fast can we do it, and how many can we knock out without needing to do a fill?
Yeah, for real. Which I actually, when we, this is kind of off topic, but when we went to Rags to Riffage last September, I think it was.
Or was it October? I don't remember.
It was somewhere later in the year, but
that was such a sick tour.
Yeah, it was so rad. If you guys gonna kind of plug some bands here, Summoning the Lich, dude.
Sick.
Yeah, super sick. Inferi's first headlining tour. I listened to them just a little bit, and my dude was like, "Dude, we got to go to this show. Number one, you're gonna love Summoning, and number two, Inferi's fucking sick and." Such a great show, but what I'm getting at is Temerium, that interesting like techie black metal band, dude. Yeah,
their drummer, fucking sick.
Their drummer, like, he threw blast beats everywhere, but it wasn't in the way. It was
tasteful.
It was great, dude. And he like this dude. I mean, this dude probably burned like 1,000 calories in his set, dude, with how much he was doing. It was just like rad, dude.
It's just like the band that Casey was doing the drums in, Casey Brand.
Yeah.
That fucking super slammy death metal band. I can't remember what the fuck they were called, but god damn.
Yeah.
Dude has chops, and I'll touch base about him a little bit later.
Yeah. So I guess let's get back on track a little bit here.
Yeah, but, we're veering off a little bit.
Yeah, it's all good. So Saud has this, and I know you kind of mentioned to me that it wasn't your favorite, but I really enjoy it. He's got this like weird mid-rangey that I've always liked, but I remember you were saying that what threw you off the most is that when they were stacking the vocals on top of each other. Normally, you get like a low with the high, and it creates this big,
this big
big old sound. But what they did on the album is he was doing those mids with the highs, and after you mentioned something like that, I'm kind of like, okay, I can see why it would be a little bit of a fall off for you, because Sawood has great lows.
Oh yeah,
he's got great low range, so it would have probably sounded better if they did that instead of the mids. But I enjoy the mids. He does them probably about a minute and a half into the Serpent's Tongue if you're curious about just hearing what that sound is. But I like it. It's kind of pukey. It's mid-rangey. I think it's different, and that's why I liked it so much, because it was different.
See, the problem for me is, I was trying to do vocals for a little while, and the problem for me with that mid-rangey is it sounded like he was like just straining.
Yeah, it does sound forced.
And it sounds very forced, and that's what drew my attention away from it. Unfortunately, it caused me to hyperfixate on the songs, and that's what killed a lot of this fucking album for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I can respect that. It does sound very forced, but there's no way of telling. It could have been natural for him, but
I mean, hell, it may not even have been Sawood, because you said that there was another dude that was doing backup vocals.
Yeah, that's true. I actually didn't think about that. The bassist does backup vocals, so I just know. Yeah, I know in the music videos, Sawood's acting them out, but they do that quite a bit.
Yeah.
In music videos I've seen, like there will be only one mic setup, and that the rest of the band does vocals too. Like
fucking Inferi's Malcolm is up there. He's fucking shredding it up, but he's doing all the backing vocals.
Yeah, and he's a fucking brilliant backing vocalist, dude. He could, if he wanted to, he could totally put down the axe in front of band, dude. But
not Malcolm, that he would.
No, Malcolm's too good. I would never.
Malcolm's a fucking goat, dude.
Yeah, he's fucking insane on the guitar. I remember a little off track, but I remember we were watching a teaching video from him, and he does this fucking weird stretch, and it's just like, what the? How do you even think about that? Where did that come from?
If you get the chance, I would just recommend watching Dean's fucking. Did you ever watch his 4 levels of death metal that he does with Claire?
Yeah. No, I watched when he did. With I think Malcolm,
there's
dude.
2 of them that he did. Yeah, and it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and Dean Lamb's a great guitarist too, and then Malcolm throws some shit his way, and he's like,
I don't know what to do.
What the fuck, dude? What the fuck? Keep going off track, but fuck it, dude. Having a good time.
We're already here. And I mean, we're talking about people that are going to be getting talked about in upcoming episodes anyway.
Fair. That's super fair. There's keyboard, which I know you're fucking all about. If there's chuggies and keyboard, I like the keyboards in this album because they're kind of epic, and it's kind of funny because I can't think of the name of what song right now. I think it's The Architect, but the intro keys kind of give me like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man vibes, dude. Like I could just
well, I know like The Architect, one of my notes is like how they do the ending breakdown with the keys. It gave me fucking like Abigail Williams vibes, and I fucking love Abigail Williams.
I could see that totally. But this Crimson Armada album, I would kind of recommend for anyone into metalcore, technical metal, or death metal. It's not exactly in the death metal vein,
not by any means. There's riffs that it's got like the deathcore riffs. It's got like some techie like death metal riffs, but it really hits that fucking metalcore, and it hits it home, dude.
Yeah, no, they knew what sound they were going for, and they're like, okay, cool, we're gonna sprinkle a little of this on there, and it's fucking great, dude. But recommended tracks to start with is The Serpent's Tongue. I mentioned it multiple times, and then The Architect. I think those are 2 good songs to kind of jump into if you don't want to, just hit play on the album and start from beginning, go cover to cover with it. But Serpent's Tongue and The Architect. As I mentioned, it's Christian core, which I think is growing up, I was more of a religious person, so I think that's kind of why I fell into.
Yeah, it hit home for you.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why I fell into finding some of those Christian influenced bands.
Yeah.
But the lyrical themes include personal struggle, faith, perseverance, overcoming adversity. So even if you aren't religious, it's a positive album. It's not
Yeah,
dark and drab.
if you start reading into it for what it actually is and what they're trying to portray, it's a very positive message.
Yeah, it's positive, and you can take it with a grain of salt. If you're not religious, that's totally
Very
cool.
much me.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's. I just think, like I said, I enjoy it for the musicality of it,
Yeah.
and if I don't want to listen to something that's pukey, gnarly, grindy, something a little bit lighter that's not like because a lot of metalcore during this time was like, oh, poor me, I'm angry,
Yeah.
you betrayed me, blah blah blah,
Yeah,
and
it was sad boy core.
yeah, and there's a, I like it, but sometimes I don't want to listen to someone whine,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a good album to kind of get away from that.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
totally get that.
Yeah, but when they were active, I started doing this, and I'm kind of sad that I didn't do it at the last episode. But I was looking up previous tours, because if you look on like Ticketmaster or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
it goes back, and you could see who they played with, if they headlined, what
Okay,
tour,
yeah,
if there was
seeing what their
festivals
actual
that they
setups
played.
were.
Yeah. But they played with For the Fallen Dreams, Chelsea Grin, Attila, Vanna, and the Chariot. And if you like weird metalcore, the Chariot's fucking rad, dude.
Yeah, because I mean, you said two names right there that were like really big standout names for, especially now. I mean, Chelsea
Yeah.
Grin is a big name
Yeah.
then
They-
and now.
Yeah, no, they've been keeping it going for a while.
Yeah.
And circling back to Jason Richardson, he played with them for a little bit too.
Yeah.
So he's been around, but that's pretty much what I got for this album. I know yesterday we were kind of looking at the Surface Tongue music video to try to get an idea of what they might have used for recording. As we mentioned before on the previous episode, things change. Sometimes maybe their guitar's not working, maybe their rig's not working, so they borrow
Maybe
from
they
friends.
just use studio gear.
Yeah, there's no telling, but what I could kind of see is that and I didn't see the whole setup, but it looked like the drummer used Pisces cymbals. Couldn't tell what kind of shells he was using. The bassist was using a big old PV stack. I'm not exactly sure the model. It looked like he was playing a Fender, but the video is kind of dark, so you can't really tell if it's a P bass or a J bass.
Mm-hmm.
I know we were kind of confused about one of the guitars, whether the guitarist was playing a Schecter of some kind or a Paul Reed of some kind.
Yeah, looking at the body shape of it, it looked more like the Schecter to me,
Yeah.
but it's so hard to tell with how dark that video was.
Yeah, and then they have fog in there too, so
And just a ton of movement makes
Yeah.
it really hard to really sit there and try to identify stuff.
it's like 3-second cuts in between each. It's a fast moving video, so
Yeah.
you're sitting there pausing, and then you get like this awkward like pixelation because the movement's so fucking fast, and it's hard.
Especially when again you're talking about 2009 where the
Right.
camera quality isn't what it is now.
Right. And the only other note I got on that is there was a 5150 head, so I wouldn't be surprised if both of the guitars were maybe using 5150s at that time. But
Yeah, with probably matching cabs. That's
Yeah.
pretty standard for the time.
Yeah.
At that time, everybody was using a 5150 or a 6505.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
for standard death metalcore, that's pretty much the cut and dry unless you have a Mesa Boogie.
yeah, right. And,
Or you're one of those Marshall fans, big old Marshall fans. I've never been a Marshall fan, but I know so many people that love them.
Yeah, no, there's only like, if I could get, and this is never going to happen because it's so fucking expensive, but like if I could get my hands on a vintage Marshall cab, like I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad at all.
Yeah, see, I would never want a Marshall head, but a Marshall cab, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that pretty much wraps up what I got on this album.
Yeah, I mean, I gave this album a few listens. I put my notes through on my first initial listen, which I had to break it up. I had a hard time getting through the album the first time around.
That's
I
fair.
really had a hard time, and a lot of it was due to that vocal. That vocal really off-put me from this really bad. And I mean, like I told you, I started bringing it back up while I was driving around for work and stuff. And in my work vehicle, it was like, okay, this is a little bit different take, a little bit different sound.
Yeah.
But still, when that vocal came up, it took me from being like, and just dropped me off.
Oh yeah.
And there's something about it, and I think it's, like I said, it's just that it sounds so strained. It's like a very strained yell.
Yeah.
And it hurts me to listen to, because I feel like I know what's going on in his throat, and it's just destroying it.
Yeah, he's like doing like this mid-range, and you could actually hear him closing down to try to bring it to that lower tone. So I can totally see where it's it comes off as strained for sure. Like I said, I enjoy it because it's different.
Oh yeah.
And hopefully he wasn't hurting himself, but that's why we're doing we're doing this, because difference of opinions. And when I put this album forward, like, I knew that there was gonna only be bits and pieces that you'd be like, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I knew that it wasn't going to be like an album that you took home and you'll be like, oh, I'm going to put this on because I want to listen to it. But I know that there might be a song or two that, if it comes up in your shuffle, you'll be like, okay, yeah, I'll fuck with this.
And that's exactly what ended up happening with this album.
Yeah.
What was cool was when I first started listening to it, I listened to it through in order.
Yeah.
And the first fucking note that I have was when the vocals finally started. It reminded me of early Black Dahlia, and I was so happy.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like Unhallowed era Trevor with the good mix of highs and lows.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. Some of the riffs were really cool and really got the song's moving. Lots of breakdowns. If you don't like breakdowns, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
There's a lot of breakdowns in this fucking album.
Yeah,
there's a lot of cool fucking guitar work, which I really do like. I did find on a few of the songs, some of the vocal pacing was kind of weird.
Yeah, I've noted that too, that there's a little bit of, I wouldn't say that it's like lost, but like if he did something a little different, it might have sat better.
Yeah.
But he was doing his thing. Maybe he did that with the forethought of it's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, but it's just like some of it was like there was like too many syllables and too small of a section kind of deal, and other times it was just like the overall just tone didn't quite match up what was going on.
Yeah.
So I mean, but there were a couple songs that, I mean, like I said on the last one, is I did X out of 10 for each of the songs, and I mean. I have a couple of songs that they got down to 6. I wasn't stoked on them.
Yeah.
And
no, I can understand that.
The first song that hit that with me, and I honestly think it's probably, in my opinion, it's probably the downfall of the album, is The Sound, the Flood, the Hour.
Yeah, the intro's a little weird, dude. The intro's a little weird. It's cool because
I like the trem picking. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was just like some a lot of it was, there was a lot of that vocal in that fucking song, and there was a lot of like callback, but there wasn't like anything great.
Yeah, it kind of prisoner ward you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But there was one song in particular that super stood out to me. I'm going to have you guess what it was.
Has it been mentioned already?
Aside from you track listing it, no.
Fuck. Well, I like the first track, Guardians. I do like the first track.
Think about it from my take of stuff.
I don't think it's In the Eyes of God, because the ending breakdown is repetitive as shit. Maybe Desecrated.
That is exactly it.
Yeah.
Desecrated is
yeah.
a fucking bop.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. That song was sick as fuck. That was the highlight of the album for me.
Yeah. No, there's a good part where he goes like desecrated, and then he does like this like fast scream, and like it's not like fucking what is it, Ollie from fucking why can't I think of their name? Arcspire.
Oh,
it's not
yeah.
like that. It's not like that fast at all. But he goes
Yeah.
like desecrated. Da 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 da
Yeah.
da da. It's a great like I know you said some of his timing is a little weird, but like I think he does that fucking part beautifully, dude.
But yeah, no, I mean that song right there, that was the highest rated song that I put on that album. 8.7, motherfucker.
Fuck yeah, dude. It's a good song.
It's sick. And
it's
I mean,
like, sure.
And like I said, is I do feel like I am judging these fairly harshly, and I think, you know, it's a good way to think about it. Is, you know, if I'm gonna listen to it, I'm gonna listen to it with my own expectations, and I'm not gonna go easy on it.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what's gonna happen when I send an album your way, dude.
And I expect the same.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, realistically, I mean, there were some sick riffs throughout the album, which were awesome. Yeah. And, you know, the majority of the time utilizing the standard vocal pattern and the standard high lows were awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that mid-rangey fucking strained yell is just what hurt me the whole way through.
Do you think this album would have been rated higher if he stuck to his highs and just as lows?
Without a doubt. Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, that's really a lot of it was, you know, I could hear, like, there was one song in particular where most of the time he paired it with a low, I want to say.
Yeah.
There's one song where he paired it with a high, and it was like, okay, that actually hits. That hits right.
Right.
And I can't remember, but yeah, I mean, going through my notes on these, it's just like, yeah, a lot of it was like, oh yeah, this is a cool riff. There's this nice break, and then it's played by the vocal again.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like it's just that really hurt it for me. But
yeah,
I mean, like you said, it's something that you really liked because it was different. It's unique, and I'm not going to deny that it's not unique. It's just, it's not for me.
Yeah, no, that's completely fine.
But
dude.
I mean, regardless, there's a couple songs on the album that I did really like. Like I said, Desecrated, fucking jam. The Architect, jam.
Yeah.
And what was another one that was like really, really up there? Fucking, actually, I did enjoy The Eyes of God. That was actually, and Filthy Addiction was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think those were like the top on the album.
Yeah, definitely. I forget how. Yeah, as soon as I guessed Desecrated, I was like, "Fuck, dude, that's definitely." I'm gonna go back on my recommended songs. Definitely add Desecrated. Definitely add Desecrated. Yeah. It's a banger, dude.
Yeah, it's really good. But I mean, realistically, you know, it's not an album that I would probably go through and listen to, just be like, oh yeah, I want to listen to that, like you said.
Yeah.
But you know, if it pops up, you know, those couple of songs, if they pop up, I'm okay. I'll listen. I'll check. I'll listen with them. I'll vibe with them. They were still cool. But I mean, for anybody that really wants to get into, you know, the death, like that early deathcore, metalcore era of music, it's a great setup.
Yeah, it's a good stepping stone for sure.
I still, you know, overall, I mean, I'm still giving it like a 7 out of 10 on the album.
Yeah.
It, you know, there's a lot of things that differentiates it from the rest of the genre at the time.
Yeah.
But there's enough that keeps it in that same realm.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, that's it. I mean, I did have to go through, and especially the first listen, I had to do it over like 2 or 3 sessions to be like, okay, I can get through it.
Yeah.
But once I got through it, you know, there was a sense of relief, obviously, because I didn't want to. I was just like, I need to do my notes. And I need to listen to it, but god damn it, it's hard to listen to this.
Yeah.
But once I listened to it, got through that, and I gave it a little while before I tried listening to it again.
Yeah.
That second listen came a lot more natural, a lot easier.
Yeah.
Still still finding the same little nuances that I liked and didn't like.
Yeah.
So I felt like my notes were still pretty close to my current opinion on everything.
Gotcha. For sure.
So I mean that's about what I've got for Guardians.
Yeah.
So I mean it was a ride. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to. I think it's time to move on.
Okay. Yeah. Go for it, bud.
We're getting techie boys.
Tech boys.
The techie boys with Demiurgus from Equipoise. If you guys don't know Equipoise, they're a sick fucking techie fucking prog death metal band. And they are actually considered a supergroup because most if not all of their members are in other bands, and they're in like other really big bands.
Yep.
So I know we already talked about Malcolm. Only reason I'm bringing up Malcolm is because 2 of the members in this band are in Inferi.
Yep.
Which is their vocalist Stevie, who's a fucking brilliant mastermind. I don't care what you say. And fucking Sanjay. Sanjay is fucking killer.
Yeah, no, he was fun to watch when we saw them live.
So, either way, so originally band formed in 2015 in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. Okay, so back east, cool stuff. The album released on March 8th, 2019. So it's a lot newer than what we've talked about previous. This is probably the newest album that we're going to talk about for a while.
Oh yeah.
And then, so the nice thing is, like I said, a lot of the members are in other bands, so it makes this a super group. So, like I said, we have Stevie Bozer, who is the vocalist. As I said, he's in Inferi. He also was formerly in Veil of Noth, which I know I've talked to you about Veil of Noth.
Yeah, nope, we've listened to them on car rides, dude. They're pretty sick, too.
They're super cool. They've been around for a while. And then next we have Nick. I can't say I'm going to enunciate his last name right, but it's Nick Padovani. He's the guitarist, and I feel like this and Equipoise is his baby.
Okay.
But he's in a couple of other bands. He's in Koseth and Virulent Depravity, who I've listened to a few times.
Yeah.
And one of the cool members that they had for this album, for anybody that's super into especially current tech death, is fucking Phil Togus. He's the guitarist vocalist from First Fragment.
Yeah.
He's not in the band anymore, but if you want to listen to anything that Phil's been doing, he's First Fragment, dude.
Yeah.
They're cool. And then, like I said, we talked about Sanjay Kumar. Yeah. Not only is he in Inferi, one of the other bands that I do listen to quite a bit, and they actually redid a song not too long ago, and I was super stoked on it, was Grey Lotus.
Yep.
And he's also in a tech slam band called Wormhole. If you want something filthy fucking nasty, go listen to Wormhole.
Yeah.
Not even gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we have on bass, who's doing a fretless bass, we got Hugo Doyon Carau. I apologize if I slaughtered the fucking name, but we're just leave it at Hugo. Hugo doing fretless bass, and he's also in Beyond Creation. Another fucking super tech band. For keyboards, they had a dedicated keyboardist for this, and I believe he's still with them. And the cool thing is their keyboardist is actually mostly in power metal bands.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So a little bit different take, but we have Jimmy Pitts, and he's in bands called he's in North Tail, Nin, and The Fractured Dimension.
Okay.
And then we have the man with the biggest repertoire in this whole fucking band, their drummer that they had for this album, Chasten Westmoreland. So he's been in a lot of fucking big name bands, did a lot of things. So currently he's doing drums for Brand of Sacrifice. I don't know if they're still active, but Burning the Masses, he did recordings for both albums.
Fuck yeah.
He's the drummer for Demon King, former drummer for Abigail Williams, The Faceless, Oshino, and Hate Eternal. And he's actually the last member that's no longer in the band. He's been replaced by Casey Brand as of recently.
Okay.
So, I mean, you've got a lot of fucking big names on this lineup for just...
Oh, yeah.
It's a massive wall of sound. So,
yeah.
Cool thing about this band, I didn't even know until I started doing research that Phil was doing anything in this. I just knew about Nick and Sanjay. I didn't realize they did 3 guitars.
Oh,
which
shit, okay.
completely changed my perspective on everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things was it was Nick and Phil that did a lot of the classical guitar work. Sanjay just out here doing his shreds.
Yeah.
But so one of the things that I know I've talked to you about, if you are a fucking anime nerd, like I am,
yeah,
all the lyrics pertain around Full Metal Alchemist because Stevie is a fucking nerd.
Yeah.
And I love it.
It's fucking great, dude. It works so well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the songs are just it's all Full Metal Alchemist. So if you've ever watched it, you've ever read the manga, you've ever any of it, you'll be in your comfort zone. It's technical death metal with Full Metal Alchemist.
Yep.
So it's pretty cool. So what I do have here too is half of the tracks on this 14-track album have guest appearances.
Jeez.
And a couple of them have multiple guests on the songs.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So we've got, and this is in order on release, or I'm sorry, in order on the song track list. So the first song that has anything is A Suit of My Flesh. They got Julian from fucking Go Rod to do guest vocals.
Hell yeah.
We've got Sigil Insidious. There's a guest guitar solo from Christian Munzer of Obscura, formerly Necrophagus and Spawn of Possession. If you know tech death or even just death metal from back in the day, Necrophagus is a name that you should know.
Yeah, definitely.
And then next we have a Dualis Flammel. We've got multiple guest solos. We got a solo from Malcolm, the boy.
Nice. Yeah, the boy.
And then we also have a solo from Colin Butler, who is also in Virulent Depravity, which is that other band that Nick is doing.
Yeah.
Eve of the Promised Day has a steel string guitar done by Colin.
Okay.
Eclectic has viola.
Oh, nice.
And that's done by a gentleman named Ryan Cho of Lumenwood.
Okay.
There's I now here it's a it's a pair of Oriental instruments that are done by Nate Miller. He's also in Virulent Depravity and the Ritual Aura, but he did the Uru and Saw.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So you've got those nice Asian instrumentations that are actually going into there. And then Cast into Exile has a guest solo from a guitarist named Tyler Cox of Simulacra.
Okay.
And then Ouroboros has multiple guest solos. We've got Dennis Schwartz of Dark Matter Secret. We have Jake Flinger, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, of Singularity. And then we actually have a cool one, Mr. Zach Hahn. The reason that this one is cool, he's a former member of Equipoise.
Oh, okay.
So that was something that I thought was kind of cool that, they were able to pull a homie back in. Even if it's just for a guest solo.
Yeah, definitely.
So, some cool stuff that I found about it is actually a few of the songs were actually re-recordings.
Oh, okay.
So, Alchemic Web of Deceit, A Suit of My Flesh, Shrouded, Sigil Insidious, and Reincarnated were all on their original EP that they did calling the Birthing Homunculi that had released just 3 years beforehand.
Oh, okay. That's fucking sick.
So they had that, and then they had re-released this. So cool stuff. And we're also going to get another big name that'll start coming up more commonly, especially on my side. But what was cool was during the recording process, they actually had to remix and master the album so many fucking times. I couldn't get an exact number on how many times it was remixed, but it was mastered 4 separate times.
Jeez.
And Mike Lowe, who's former guitarist of Inferi and In Full Darkness, which I love both of those bands, was credited for the mixing and production. And Mr. Zach Denham of another band called Enora Jorsis, I can't even. He was credited for the mastering.
Nice, okay.
But what was cool, too, was not only was Phil doing the guitars for the project, but Nick went through and even credited him for taking an active role in co-producing the entire album.
Fuck yeah, okay.
So we've got a full... I have a whole bunch of stuff about this, because one thing that I did find, and I know I talked to you about it, was after the release of the album, Nick, I'm fairly certain, took to all the social media pages, because like I said, it's his pretty much his baby.
Yeah.
He went through and wrote a post every day about each song and what the inspiration behind the song, just essentially a behind the music kind of deal for each song.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there was only one track that was missing, which was track 10 for Waking Divinity.
Yeah, you said that he like double posted or something, right?
Yeah, he double posted one of the songs. So there actually wasn't a post specifically for Waking Divinity.
Gotcha.
But either way, so these are all direct quotes from every single one of those posts that I found. So we have 13 posts of, things, but this will give you an idea of, what the writing process was behind it, or just in general what he wanted to do.
Right.
So we're going to start out, and the first song is Illborn Augury. So, and I quote, "I wrote the song in mid-2016 with this very ironic reasoning. I wanted to start a side project with Phil. He declined as he said he was busy, but it worked out in the end anyways. This song was written as an intro piece to Sovereign Sacrifices, the fastest song on our album. I basically wanted to open an album with high intensity, and Illborn Augury was a perfect complementary piece. Obviously, this became an Equipoise song, and I'm glad it did. My desire to take the opening piano motif and just keep building onto it. I wanted a simple song that could serve a vehicle for solos and sort of an instrumental dynamics that would allude to the general vibe of the album. I'm very happy with the beautiful solos everyone provided on this song, and I don't think I could have picked a better opener." Which, it's a banger of an opener if you're
It's a great song. It's a great song, dude. It's a super great song.
And then we go off onto Sovereign Sacrifices, which, like I told you, is probably one of my favorite songs off the album. So Sovereign Sacrifices was written as a follow-up to Illborn Augury. When I had composed these two songs, they were originally made in the same Guitar Pro file, so they were supposed to be one long song. Obviously, that is no longer the case. This song kicks in at 262 BPM. It's the fastest. Yeah, that's fast, dude. 262. It's the fastest song on the album, and I wanted to make it nearly 1.5 times as fast as Illborn Augury to sort of act as a distinguishable calm before the storm. Obviously, we couldn't do the song twice as fast because that would be ridiculous at 350 BPM.
Right.
This song also has the most tempo changes on the album, next to A Suit of My Flesh, whereas the song I wrote in different inspiration for songs, this one was completely off the cuff. So, and then we follow into Alchemic Web of Deceit, which if I believe that's one of the songs that you can actually go and they have a lyric video for. I forgot I forgot to do that research for what there was for videos out for this stuff. But regardless, you can find a lot of this stuff. Alchemic Web of Deceit, the third song that he fully wrote after finishing. Excuse me. After finishing having finished Dualis Flamel and Sigil Insidious, this was the second song I ever tabbed out on Guitar Pro as well, because I had started using it. The song was written entirely in Guitar Pro initially, with no guitar in hand either. This was the formula for the majority of the tracks written, but I later went through them all with my guitar to make sure they were practical to play. So that's actually pretty cool to know that none of it it was originally just all Guitar Pro, just writing out tabs, dude.
Yeah, that's
I don't know
crazy.
how many times I've done that, where I just write out a tab and I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds sick, and then I go to play it and I'm just like, I can't play that. Why did I do this?
Right. Yeah.
All right. This was the formula for majority of tracks written. Okay, this song was the very first time I decided to use nylon guitars in my music. This song was inspired by the Obscura song, I can't enunciate that, Septuagint? Yep, sure.
that works.
Yep. I love the concept of an acoustic motif and transition to an electric one, and the song being developed from that. Obviously, the two songs sound nothing alike, but I would like to acknowledge the influence. My desire was to make a track that was top speed, unrelenting at all times. I wanted something catchy, simple, and melodic, and it turned out well in my opinion. Fun fact, it was this guitar profile that I was able to convince Stevie to join with me.
Fuck yeah, dude.
He said that within the first 30 seconds or so, he knew he wanted to be a part. I'm grateful that he made the decision to take a chance on me.
Oh yeah, dude.
So he took that guitar profile, reached out to Stevie of all fucking people,
right,
and got a vocalist.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That's fucking sweet.
Yeah, that's pretty rad.
And yeah, that is a great song. In my opinion, all these songs are great songs.
Yeah.
So then we move on to A Suit of My Flesh, which is the fourth song on the album. This song was one of 3 original cuts when I was writing a bit with Zach back in mid-2015. I didn't write the whole thing until a few months later, but I did have the first 45 seconds or so written. If it isn't a secret, the intro of this song is very inspired by the Necrophagist song, The Stillborn One. I was listening to them a lot at the time, and that one song always stuck with me. Everything I was writing at the time it was top speed and intensive. So I wanted to write a song with dramatically slower opening, which, yeah, it's...
Yeah.
As months progressed with the song developing, I wanted to incorporate my love for Go Rod by filling the song with grooves that they were a huge inspiration of moment. Speaking of Go Rod, this song features our first guest on the album, Julian. The vocal dynamics exchange between him and Stevie is nothing short of brilliant. I was honored to have the vocalist from one of my all-time favorite bands take part. The opening of this song is 100 BPM, making it the slowest sustained BPM of the album, not including the outro slowdowns. The song fluctuates between 250, 200, and 100 BPM once more. The song has the second highest BPM behind Sovereign Sacrifices.
Jeez.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of signature changes, time changes, everything.
Yeah, and those are drastic changes between the 200 something to fucking 100. That's a big...
Yeah, I mean, 100 to 250, that's a huge jump. And then and then dropping 50 BPM from there, and then another 100.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, and then we have Shrouded. This was the first song I composed that was a full nylon piece. I got the idea from Go Rod's EP Transcendence, where they had acoustified metal songs, and I decided that Shrouded would be a good way to segue my Suit of My Flesh and Sigil Insidious. Speaking of which, this song composed based on the main riff of Sigil Insidious, which is why it's identical in nature. I wanted to basically write this song and create some breathing room, but to create a functional interlude that could show off a bit of dynamics in the sound. Thankfully, people really like it. Yeah, which is cool. And then, yeah, Sigil Insidious, probably that's probably like my favorite song on the album.
That's fair. Yeah.
All right, and then, so, as I said, I'm fairly certain Nick was writing all these with how it's all worded and everything.
Yeah.
This was the second song I ever wrote for Equipoise back in summer of 2015 with Zach. It was after this song we did less jamming because summer was wrapping up, but also because I had gotten Guitar Pro. Yeah, makes sense. Math do be mathin'.
Yep.
I had decided I wanted to tab out the drums to this song since I always had ideas for drums in my head, but no way of conveying them. After I tabbed the drums out, I decided to play along on guitar, but I realized it didn't give me the full effect I was after. I learned to tab the guitar out as well. I had my first full song composed. I realized that I can't read. I realized from there that I actually had some potential with music. I was writing. So it was an exciting moment. One of the beginning riffs for this song was inspired by Lords of Lavish Filth by A Loathing Requiem. I love how he puts this. And I quote, Papa Pew was the inspiration for me to start writing my own music. And by Papa Pew, if you haven't caught what we were who we were talking about, it's Malcolm Pew.
Yep.
Now I can only refer to Malcolm as Papa Pew.
We go see them live. We're like, "What's up, Papa Pew?" He's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Don't worry. Nick sent us. All right.
He FaceTimes Nick. He's like, "Do you know these fucking people?" And
no.
Like, no.
All right, and so we have Reincarnated. This song was inspired by the acoustification of a metal track concept like Shrouded was. This song was written based off of the first few riffs on Dualis Flammo and serves as an interlude piece. There's not much else to say about this song other than it's one of my favorites, and I got to explore a non-metal side of things I definitely wanted to explore further. Jimmy did amazing piano on this, and it was fun having Phil and I do nylon trades during this song.
Yeah.
Pretty short and sweet. And now we move to Dualis Flammo. Now we've been immortalized as the biggest weebs ever. God damn it. I love how that opens.
Yeah.
We got something a little different for song 8 of our 14-song synopsis. Stevie did a killer job with the AMV as visualizations here were were made to depict what was going on with the lyrics. God damn it, I cannot read. It's so much. There's this wall of text in front of me that I'm trying to read through.
Right.
Okay. Back to where I was. I'm also going to go out of order here and post song 7 tomorrow. Dualis Flammo was the first song I ever wrote for Equipoise, and it was very near and dear to me, and it was probably my favorite. This song has been mostly unmodified since its initial composition. Outside of me adding about 2 minutes to the solo section in the middle. The song features Malcolm and Colum as guest solos. The song was inspired to be a part of a song by the song was inspired at one part to be I can't even read. It was inspired by Destroyer from Inferi. I can't read, okay? It's so much and I can't read. I always had this problem. If you
just
hadn't
sound
noticed.
it out, dude. Just sound it out.
Use your syllables and sound it out. I'm getting so jumbled up.
Jeez.
All right. Yeah, either way. Song was inspired by Destroyer from Inferi. Listen to Inferi. Just listen to Inferi. I'm done talking. Just go listen to Inferi. Don't even listen to this album anymore. Go listen to Inferi. All right. So then we have Eve of the Promised Day. This song was written early on, and I believe is the 5th or 6th song that I wrote. This song features Colin on steel string acoustic guitar. The song was wildly inspired by the Septic. Yep. Song Voices from the Past. I'm guessing it's supposed to be Septic Flesh, but I'm not sure. It just says Septic. It could be it could be another band that's just Septic.
Yeah.
My idea for this song, did I just say idea? I think I did.
Ideas.
My idea for this song was to simply have one track at 120 BPM and the main riff consistent while double picking, switching off with acoustic breaks. This is actually my personal favorite song off the album, and I really love the melody of it. Okay.
Nice.
And then we have Ecliptic. I don't have much to say about this song. Oh, by the way, this is where we have that loss of
that double post or whatever.
This is where we have that loss of one song. So
yeah.
we lost out on track 10, which again I haven't noted up here. Whatever it was, because I completely forgot what the track list even is.
Well, there's a lot, dude.
Waking Divinity. So track 10, Waking Divinity. That's the song that's missing. So. We just get to pretend that we have something there for that.
There we go. That's
now
fine.
we're on to track 11, which is Ecliptic, so we're almost done. Don't have much to say about this song, honestly. I was watching Blade Runner 2049 for the first time with my roommates, and the soundtrack inspired me to write a short complimentary atmospheric piece for the Squalus Souls. The song features Nate on Eru and Saw and Ryan on viola.
Nice.
Short, simple, and sweet.
Yeah.
And then we have Squall of Souls. The song is basically our one-off on the album. I wanted to write a song that channeled my love for Cynic, which is a great band.
Yeah, Cynic's pretty good.
I love that band. You guys, you guys are going to hear that I love a lot of different bands, and because I do, and I know a lot of different bands from all my years of exploring the genre.
He's got a problem, but he can admit to it.
I can admit. The first step of recovery is acceptance, and
I'm here for you.
Okay, thanks. I need a support system. Either way, but yeah, Cynic's great. Listen to Cynic.
Yeah.
This song was definitely inspired by Rivers and Nil's song Sand Baptism, and they're another really good band, because I like the drum beat in the beginning a lot. There's not too much to say about this song, honestly. It was me wanting to take a stab at a more atmospheric prog death piece, and I'm quite happy with how it turned out. Also, there's a typo in that, because I just copy-pasted it. It's Quith. I copy-pasted all of these posts. So these are verbatim how they are. But yeah, I'm very happy Quith.
Happy Quith.
And then, so now we move on to track 13, Cast into Exile. The song was written out originally to be the last track on the album. It originally took inspiration from the Necrophagist track, Symbiotic in Theory. My intention was just to write an over-the-top closing track that went all out in technicality department. But my Symbiotic in Theory... Yeah. I think what you meant to say was... It literally says, but my Symbiotic in Theory did. But I think it was supposed to be, but as Symbiotic in Theory did.
Gotcha.
As a result, I would say it's the least catchy song on the album and acts more as a challenging listen. This song, it has the most time signature changes in the entire album. This song was meant to originally have Phil doing some guest solo for the big trade section in the middle, but afterwards it was discussed that he would just join along for the whole album.
Nice.
So yeah, Phil was only supposed to just do guest sections and ended up on the whole fucking thing.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Still cool. And then we have our actual final song on it, Ouroboros, which I know you said was a song that you...
Yeah, I enjoyed Ouroboros quite a bit.
All right, and then and I quote, "Our journey comes to an end here with the final track of the album, Ouroboros. This song is essentially a reprise of Illborn Augury, as the opening progression is based on this song, and the back half of this song is literally riffs from Illborn Augury."
Nice.
I did this because I originally wanted to call back to the intro of the album, but I wanted the album to be cyclical in nature, thus Ouroboros, i.e. Ouroboros, or the snake eating its own tail.
Yep.
If you listen to this song... Yeah, if you listen to the end of this track where the pianos fade out, you'll notice it fades out to the piano intro of Illborn Augury. This song features Dennis, Jack, and Zach, brilliant guest solos, and they really helped me make this song special, in my opinion. Thank to all of you who have been following this.
Hell yeah.
So that's what I've got for notes on all of this. So
Nice.
I know you said that you had a hard time listening to this the first time or two around.
Yeah, no, the first time...
I did too.
Yeah, no, the first time, like, it didn't... And maybe I just didn't have the
right headspace for it or something.
Yeah, something along those lines. But the first time I listened to it, it was kind of whatever. It's not that, like, it's not good music and that it's not a good album. It's just, you know how I am with my music taste, dude. Like we both listen to metal, but we're so different in our subgenres.
Oh yeah.
That, like,
we find those areas that bleed into each other, but it still drastically varies.
Yeah. But it grew on me. This album totally grew on me. I think I listened to it maybe...
I think you said like 4 or 5 times.
More, dude. I listened to it maybe another 2 times since last time I told you so. Probably God. 7 times through, dude. And I mean, when I come over to your house, like, that's a 20-25 minute drive, so I could get through fucking half of it, and then on the way
you can get through a good chunk.
Half. Yeah. So but the more I listened to it, the more, like, I enjoyed it,
And I think that was the same thing for me. Is like I said, it's like I listened to a couple songs, I was like, okay, this is really good. And then I tried to listen to the album, and I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
And then I'd go back to it, and I'd find more little things that I was able to pick apart and really like. And it was like, okay, and then it just all started adding up.
Exactly. It's kind of like a big math problem where if you look at the whole thing, it's like I'm fucking lost.
Yeah, you're overwhelmed.
You start breaking it apart, and you're like,
I could honestly say that this album, if you're not prepared, could be very overwhelming.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, it's super technical guitar work. It's over the top in a lot of places. And so I could see where a lot of people, they're listening to this for the first time and they're just fucking lost because they're just like, there's so much going on.
Yeah. It's hard to digest at first, but when you sit with it, it's like, fuck, okay, I get this now.
Yeah, especially with all the fucking fretless bass cutting through.
Yeah. No.
The whole way through.
Yeah. Fucking, that's actually one of my notes is that the bass is ominous throughout the whole fucking album. It's haunting. It cuts through the mix. It's fucking great. It's not overpowering, but there's these like, because I can't remember if you mentioned, but yeah, you did. It's fretless, so you get all the the semi and the microtones, and it's just fucking, it like creeps in, dude. It's fucking incredible. The bass work is very good on this album.
And I actually did forget. I did have a good idea of what the gear was used on it. It obviously, like we stated earlier, this was all speculative. Yeah. Everything that I could find was just through various playthroughs, Instagram videos, and fucking like live performance stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, it's stuff that I know that they did use, but I don't know if they used it during recording.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I know that fucking Nick kind of didn't post anything except for like tabs here and there, and then he suddenly posted a Kiesel Vader 7-string that he got, headless 7-string, and then suddenly he's posting videos.
Yeah.
Shredding on it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of Equipoise stuff. So
yeah, I'm
90% certain that's what he used for recording Equipoise.
Yeah.
Everything that I've ever seen with Phil, with the exception of like one or two stuff with first Fragment, I always see him using a Schecter Jeff Loomis signature 7-string.
Okay.
That is like the thing that if you look up Phil, that's like the guitar that you're going to see him with is the Jeff Loomis 7-string.
Yeah.
Now, the one that's interesting is Sanjay, because I went through a lot of his stuff and I found like 3 different guitars that he was using for all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But just a little bit before before the album was released, he did receive an Ormsby endorsement.
Okay, yeah.
So, but he already had a couple of Ormsbys that he was using in like showing off the tracking and stuff. So yeah. I'm fairly certain he was already using Ormsby for actual tracking. But I found him using a Strandberg Bowden 7 at some point, an Ormsby TX7, which is kind of a like a telly shape.
Oh yeah.
And then I also seen him on one point with a Ormsby Goliath 8-string.
Okay.
Which is, if I remember right, the Goliath is their headless.
I'm not too sure on that one.
Ormsby is one of those.
Look it up.
Ormsby's a cool brand. They do a lot of cool
definitely.
stuff. And then Hugo's using I want to say it's a custom. I couldn't find any certain like model or anything when I was looking it up. It's a Kiesel 6-string fretless and headless bass.
Nice. Okay.
And then for Chaston on his drums, it's a Pearl shell kit. Couldn't tell you what model. But it's a mixture of Sabian and Zildjian cymbals.
Okay.
So, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, straightforward shit right there.
Yeah, just you brought up the bass, how it was cutting through, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot that I have notes on that.
All good, buddy. No worries. No worries. But yeah, if you want like I said, it's just a haunting tone, and if the bass doesn't give you like the overall vibe for the album, like I don't know what else. I mean, obviously there's a lot, like we mentioned, there's a lot going on with this album, but the bass, like it is such a fun listen if you just hyper fixate on the bass, because you, like I said, you're getting those semi and those microtones.
It's so fucking standout, and how it sits in the mix is so different.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not forward. It's not drowned. Everything's hearable if you do some active listening.
Yeah.
They did a fucking great job on mastering this.
It sits in kind of the same place. Like if you listen to like some of the tech death that's especially now, a lot of the stuff that is using the 6-string fretless basses. So if you listen to a lot of stuff like Obscura or First Fragment and so on, you kind of know what to expect with that bass and how it cuts through.
Yeah, exactly. I enjoyed the keyboard bits. I know that you mentioned that was featured. Someone did some feature work for him. But I think my favorite in this whole album is the classical clean guitar bits, because they like,
it's just a breath of fresh air.
It's fucking rad. Like, it's still technical, but like there's these one little bits where it sounds like and I may be wrong, but it kind of sounds like they're using hand drums to accompany the classical, and it like gives out this like old school, like, I don't want to say like flamenco, because it's not flamenco style playing, but it's got this like interesting like different vibe to it, but it fits so fucking well. And I think Shrouded is the best like example in this album for the classical guitar work that's just kind of sprinkled all the way through it. It's a bit of a kind of like an interlude midway through the album, but it showcases like what they were bringing when they were doing their breaks for this album.
It really lets that shine through and go, okay, we're more than just technical fucking death metal.
Yeah, exactly. But notable tracks for me is Illborn Augury, Alchemic Web of the Sea, and Ouroboros. This album has bangers all the way through, but if you're only going to check out a few tracks, those are good starts.
I think those are all great ones. The only other one that I would add to that, in my opinion, is Sigil Insidious.
Yeah, that's fair. That's super fair.
I think that song is, I think that's like probably my top song off the album. It's solid.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you're go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, it's all good, buddy. I was just gonna say the solos, like the technicality and kind of like the shreddiness of some of them is fucking cool, man. Like as you mentioned, you know, they're playing some pretty high BPM stuff, but like those shreddy parts kind of like, and it's not exact, but in my mind, it kind of takes me back to like early metal and even some like rock and roll, dude. Like how shreddy they are.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
It's nice to see kind of like and maybe it wasn't even something in their headspace to do that, but I mean, like, what, these guys are maybe 5, 6, 7 years older than us, so it kind of shows.
I mean, Sanjay's younger than us.
Yeah, that's true. Sanjay is younger, but it's kind of cool because, like I said, it's kind of like a callback to earlier genres with the way they're shreddy, but it's still their own thing.
Yeah.
It's this, like I said like you mentioned, I told you, like, I don't know how I'm feeling about this album, dude. You know, I'm gonna do it because, you know, that's what we're fucking doing here. You know, if there's an album that you or I put forward that the other person's like, you know, fuck, dude, I don't like this at all, like, we're still gonna fucking do it. But like,
yeah,
the first listen was, I wouldn't say it was a chore, but it was like, man, like the playlist that you made for the Only Slams podcast, like, it's like there's so many other good fucking tracks on this playlist that, like, I can easily just hit shuffle and say fuck this right now. But it grew on me. Like, yeah. I think when I started, you know, like, one listen, like, I tried to focus on the drum work. One listen, I tried to focus on the bass work. Another listen, I tried to focus on the guitar work. And then one thing that you didn't really mention is that Stevie's vocals, like, versus Inferi to this album, like, dude's got range. Dude's got a bag of tricks.
I don't know how much Inferi did you listen to. Because Stevie only has the one album recorded with them, which is Vilogenesis.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying like he's got like a huge range.
No, I know. I'm just saying that way, if you're trying to do comparison, I just wanted to know, just because, as I said, he only did the one album with Inferi, aside from, you know, obviously he's been touring with them for a while.
Yeah.
But like I didn't realize because for some reason for the longest time I didn't realize that Stevie didn't do I can't even think of the album now. Revenant.
Yeah.
With Inferi.
Okay.
Which
yeah.
I do love that album, but yeah, that's not
Yeah.
Stevie on vocals.
Yeah. No, my frame of reference is kind of when we went and saw them live.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's still such a hard frame of reference because he unfortunately was so dropped in the live mix.
Yeah,
which
sucked. That did definitely suck. You know, if we ever go see them again and that shit happens, I would like tap him on the shoulder, be like, dude, can you fucking tell the sound guy to fucking fix this shit?
Yeah, Stevie, I can't hear you.
Just stand right next to him the whole time.
I mean, even up front, he was like, we were up front,
and
still could barely fucking hear him.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're a fucking wall of sound live, and you know,
even without fucking Andrew, that was crazy.
That's the only like bad takeaway I have from seeing them. It wasn't their performance; it's just whoever ran sound production that night probably only had one preset for the whole sound check, and Stevie needed a boost of some kind.
Yeah, he needed some more gain.
Yeah,
just to cut through. Nonetheless, but no, Stevie is a great vocalist. I
absolutely. The only other thing that I really have to say about this album is the drummer.
Yeah, Chasson, fucking crazy.
Absolute, dude. Absolute. And like you mentioned, he's done so much fucking work. Like, he's brilliant on a kit, dude. He's not over the top. He's technical. He's tasteful. It's fucking great, dude.
And while I was doing some research, I did see something that I thought was kind of interesting. He's actually the son of a jazz bassist of all people.
That's rad. So he's had music in his life since he was a kiddo, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
So that was kind of a cool little thing to find. It was like, oh, hey, okay.
Yeah, no, if his pops was a musician, then I would assume that he was probably on a kit at a very young age.
And he was probably doing shows with pops.
Right, totally.
Which I would understand, especially being if I remember right. I think he said he was like a jazz bassist.
Gotcha, yeah.
And you know how tight the fucking jazz players have to get.
Oh yeah, dude, definitely. So
it would explain a lot for how tight the drum work is.
Right. But I give this a solid 7, dude. Like, my first listen was probably going to be closer to like a 5.5, a 6. But like I said, after I gave it the time and respect that it deserved, it fucking jumped up to a 7, which I think the only other, I mean, I know we're only 2 episodes deep, but I'm pretty sure I gave Price of Existence a 7 too. And then Ghost Reveries, I think I gave that a 9. So Ghost Reveries is winning for me right now.
I think you gave it like 8 something because I know I said it was like a 9. Either way, it's up there. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. But that's pretty much what I got. I mean, I think give it a listen. Get your own opinions. You know.
Speaking of give it a listen, definitely we've got all the albums that we're talked about, all the albums that we're gonna talk about that we've confirmed. We've got them all in the Spotify playlist, so I would definitely recommend go check that out.
And they are in the way that we are planning to cover them. So
yeah, with the exception of the last 2 albums I added on because I said I want to do those, and you just haven't given me what you want to do with them.
Yeah, no, not yet, no.
But as we get more information and stuff, and when we're gonna start doing more episodes, we're gonna be. I definitely have been trying to keep everything updated on the Discord here. So pop into the Discord, come fucking chat, fucking talk about some silly shit, learn some fucking metal, and we're always open to listening to all kinds of different recommendations.
Yeah, drop suggestions, whether they be EPs, albums, single songs. We're gonna cover whole albums, but even if there's just like a one-off song that you're like, I fucking love this song.
Yeah, and I mean, even if we don't cover it, we'll still more than likely give it a listen.
Yep,
because
definitely.
I mean, that's what I want to do is I want to spread knowledge of all these fucking bands because there's so much good music out there that I don't want to fucking gatekeep music. How much music have I shown you over the years?
I can't keep track, dude. You'll be you'll be like, remember I showed you this album? I'm like, fuck, I think. Like, fuck, dude.
I'm sorry. I ended up turning into like an encyclopedia of fucking metal bands.
Yeah, dude, definitely. But
and I want to try to keep the ball rolling with kind of changing it up a little bit here and there, because I mean, like I've said, is I'm more in that death metal zone and tech death zone, but I do have a lot of stuff that I know that's just like super oddball, off the walls.
Right.
One of these days we're gonna talk about Unexpect, and I don't think you're gonna like that.
No,
you're gonna love it.
I enjoy Unexpect, dude. You showed me a couple songs from him, and it's like,
it's so fucking weird.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's good, dude. It's fucking
so
good.
Fucking good.
Yeah.
No, but I have like a lot of like death metal and like progressive death metal, especially. I know about a lot of different bands and melodic death metal bands, so that's probably like the vein that I'm gonna stay in for a while. You know.
Yeah.
Anybody that does know me knows I love, you know, death metal, prog metal, tech death, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I do like some weird one-off stuff here and there.
Oh yeah. No fucking and then you know me, fucking metalcore, fucking
and post-hardcore,
post-core, fucking some punk music here and there. Not in the punk, not punk in the way that like you may think in like Ramones and stuff like that, but metal influence punk.
Napalm Death, pretty much.
Yeah. The next episode, we're going to be covering kind of one of those metalcore with some punk. Well, I'm going to be covering one that's well, not the next episode.
Yeah, not the next because we're doing a
special edition.
We're doing a special episode. So if you guys are around May 13th. I'll leave it at that for you guys. If you know why the date is important, then you know we're gonna be really good friends.
Important to the whole fucking genre and subgenre, dude.
Yeah, essentially very important to the whole metal community as a whole.
Yeah. Definitely.
I do feel like I'm probably gonna cry a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie to you right now. I'm thinking about it. You can hear I'm starting to break up a little bit.
Yeah, no, dude. Very, very important. Very important.
So again, that's gonna be May 13th. So that's Monday. It'll be in the evening, just because obviously I work Monday through Friday, so it'll be after work stuff. But it's something that's really important for me, and I feel is really important for just the metal community in general.
Yep, definitely.
And I know like it's not your cup of, like not necessarily your forte, but I know that you can appreciate the influence.
Oh, definitely. I still fuck with it because I pay respects to the fucking heavy hitters, the people that fucking brought this genre to the forefront, it is. Dude. Yep, exactly.
So, yeah, again, May 13th, that's the date, and like I said, if you're in the Discord, that's where you're going to find all of our updates and everything. But the next episode after that, I don't know exactly when we're going to do it, just because how scheduling works.
Yeah.
Because of the work. But I went ahead and we're going to be covering a fun one for me. Within definitely. Destruction.
Yeah, dude.
You want some heavy hitting shit? There you go.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
That album is going to be sick to cover. I got a good amount of information for that. Yeah, and then definitely. You have the Ghost Inside.
Yep, definitely some of that more.
As you call it, Windbreaker core.
Windbreaker core, yeah. Windbreaker, unnecessarily large plugs.
Yeah, dude.
Keystone Light, maybe.
Oh, no, not even Keystone, dude. It's Natty Light all day. You know it. If they were around, you know, and if they had just popped off like maybe 4 years ago, it'd be White Claws.
Yeah,
because you know the claw is the law.
Yeah, the claw is the law. But no, next episode is gonna be fucking a special one, and then the episode of that is gonna be
right back to what we're doing.
Yeah, but definitely check out this next episode if you have any respect for the genre. It's gonna be some good information. I know he's gonna go fucking so deep into it. It's gonna fucking even blow my mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of information that's gonna go out. I don't know how long it's gonna run, but we're gonna run it.
Yeah, I could see it being a little bit longer of an episode just because there's so much to cover.
Yeah. And I mean, I already know a bunch of information right off the top, but I wanted to solidify a lot.
Oh yeah, no, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all, dude.
But yeah, so I want to say thank you guys for fucking popping in.
Absolutely,
It's been rad. Yeah, and we did sort out the recording issue, so
right.
We will be able to get this up onto the YouTube channel for anybody that misses it. So,
yep.
I think at that point we can go ahead and wrap it up and say our goodbyes. But yeah, I think before that, if anybody in chat wants to say anything, we can fucking check it out and go from there, and then say our goodbyes.
Yeah, definitely. If there's
so we'll just give it a minute, see.
Let's see. Old Spike came through. Thanks, Spike. Appreciate it.
We had somebody new coming in.
I think that's my ma, dude.
Sick.
Yeah, I think that's my ma, bro.
Yeah, dude. Created 2 hours ago. Following an hour ago. Let's go.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I'm about it. I'm not even mad.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So yeah.
Yeah, no. I think that's about it, dude.
I think this is where we call it. So yeah, again, thank you guys for showing up. I do appreciate it, and
yeah, definitely appreciated.
We're gonna just keep doing our due.
Yeah, stay tuned, guys. Like you said, get in that fucking Discord, dude.
Yep, the Discord's there. The Spotify link's there if you want to check out the albums that we've talked about or that we're gonna talk about. And yeah. All right, guys. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you all later.
Take it easy, y'all.
All right, late.